Well, hello there and welcome to the channel, and in this video, it's an important one. We're going to be talking about the things you should never be doing when it comes to overwintering your tree ferns. Every spring we travel out and look at these big established popular gardens, and there'll be like 10, maybe 15% of the tree ferns are dead every year. Every flipping year, history repeats itself. I don't know what is going on. Why is there some information out there that people just keep taking as verbatim, repeating the same mistakes year after year after year? So I'm going to put a stop to it in this video by telling you exactly what you're doing wrong. If only there was somebody out there who had a proven track record in horticultural excellence. Hold on a minute. Look at that lovely fancy rose bowl with my name on it for best roses in show. Ah, lovely fancy thing with the cactus cup for winning all the cactus displays. Ah, best flower exhibit. It's shiny. I don't even know what that one's for. Yeah, RHS medal. Well, one of them anyway. So listen to me, listen carefully. I'll tell you why we do things, when we do them. Let's try and not kill him this year, okay? Come on in. Now, cast your mind back to the 1900s when I was a mere 20-something garden centre manager, and we used to sell these tree ferns in rather large numbers, and you know, they're a little bit pricey, you know, £100 maybe, 120 if you want to push the boat out. But you go to any of your local garden centres today and check out the prices, and this is what you're going to find. Flipping egg, look at the price. So unless you're either Warren Buffett or Elon Musk, it's unlikely that you have got the money to frivolously waste on replacing tree ferns, especially at the cost they are nowadays. And I don't understand why they're so expensive. I really don't. They have gone up extortionately. That's enough long words. Next clip. Now, one of the most common mistakes that people do, and I'm not even going to say this is the worst mistake, although it's pretty bad, you really shouldn't do it, you should never do it, is this, and I believe it goes back to when these first started coming into the country. So I remember as a little path sweeper in the local garden centre, we had a container turn up with these top and tailed tree fern logs, and all the information we were told was to stick them in a bath of water for a couple of days, put them out for sale, and that was it. But it's quite a stark look when you see that all the fronds are gone and you've got this severe cut on the top, probably by some Aussie or Tassie with a chainsaw. And that's pretty much all the information that you had. So, and a lot of people see them and they go, well, that's how you've got to treat them. So every year they get their secateurs out, and even colleagues of mine, straight out of uni, you know, studied the same qualification as me, did this. You know, come the winter, they cut all the fronds off and put a little bit of a leaf. Bloody wind, bloody England wind. So they cut all the fronds off, so it looks exactly like it did when it first come into the country, and then put some dead leaves, put it at the top, and then that is it. That is it for their protection, and that is it for your plant. And yeah, that one he had that died. So there's a big problem there. There's a big problem there. Let me explain more in detail, because if you don't understand what's going on there, you can repeat it. You can ignore what I'm saying and just do the same thing that you keep on doing. You've got to stop it, guys. You're going to kill your plants. Right, now this tree fern is a genius of environmental adaptation. Unlike pretty much every plant you know, which has roots at the bottom and then produces a stem that goes up, this is different. It has a crown here, and inside that crown you've got the meristemic tissue, and that produces roots up here, and the roots go down the trunk and go down here, because where they are in mostly Tasmania and I think eastern Australia, they have very heavy rainfall, so it's an adaptation to stop them from being or suffering from the effects of waterlogging. So you got this rough, husky kind of trunk, and this is just full of fibrous roots, absolutely massive lump of root, and also acts like a water bottle. So when you have huge amounts of rain, this all fills up and swells, but it's so airy. It's an absolutely perfect piece of adaptation, wonderful. But the main part of the plant is up here. So it's taken. So imagine it's turned up in the country, all these fronds are cut off. So for the next year, it's going to spend all its energy and resources producing all this leaf. So that is 12 months of nutrition, starches, sugars that the plant has invested in those massive fronds. And that's a huge resource for that plant that is still there. So come the winter, if conditions aren't brilliant, it can always draw in those resources to protect the crown, you know, assuming they get much rain, assuming it's too cold, assuming whatever. It's a way that the plant can actually access resources to protect itself. And you cut all those leaves off, oh, you're really going to set that plant back. It's going to reproduce everything, and it won't, because come the spring, rather than getting a mass of those new growth, you're going to get pitiful growth coming back through. And do that for a few years, it won't be able to cope with it. It will not be able to cope with it unless you are absolutely on it with your feeding, with your watering. And I'm not going to go into that in this video. You can watch the other video. Then you're going to lose your plant. Simple way. You just said, I don't know. Wait. Oh, I just want to hit myself in the head. Never cut the fronds off prior to overwintering. Just don't do it. Right, now I want to talk about watering, and there's a couple of elements with regards to watering. Now, tree ferns are fairly robust. They really don't suffer with too much with regards to pests and disease. But what they can get is infections in the crown. Now, these can be bacterial, they can be fungal infections in the crown. To avoid that in general, just use water out the tap, because you know it's sterilised. So if you're always watering with tap water, and you water not only in the ground, but you also water the trunk, and you also water the crown, then you shouldn't have any problems. If you start messing about taking water out your pond, taking water out of puddle, taking water out the water butt, then you're increasing the risk of your plant from getting these infections. And like I said before, they are too expensive to mess about with, so stop doing that. Always use tap water that is sterilised. Right, but come the winter, you will still need to water. Now, in Tasmania, rainfall varies quite a lot across the country. It can be as much as 3 meters, 3 flipping meters of rain per year. In certain areas that can be down to like half a meter to a meter. But on the whole, if you consider a meter to 2 meters of rain per year, so you're looking at possibly twice the amount of rain that we get in the UK, then you need to be aware that over the winter, because these will be covered up for about 3 months. So what you're telling me, you're not going to water it for 3 months, or I should say that if you're doing the job properly, you're going to be protecting the crown, protecting part of the trunk, protecting the leaves, probably with horticultural fleece. Although some places, if they've got the money and the resources, such as RHS Wisley, my favourite horticultural garden, then you'll often see them actually cover their tree ferns with like a thick blanket of straw, which is very, very good. It does an absolutely excellent job at keeping the cold off the crown, in fact cold off everything. But is there going to be any water getting into it? No, it's going to be difficult to get water through that thick mat of straw and the crown, which is again why you go down to their like ravine, a tree fern ravine, and you still see dead tree ferns, because they haven't got it quite right. I bless you, RHS, I love you very much, but dead tree ferns, you get dead tree ferns because you're not overwintering them properly. So what do you need to do? You need to make sure that you can still water your tree ferns over the winter. So whatever cold protection you put in place for your tree ferns, you need to be able to get access to the crown so you can put some water in it. You do not water in freezing conditions, and you do not water as much as you would have done over the summer, which could have been once, twice a day possibly in hot conditions, especially as most people have them out in full sun. Don't forget, this is a mid-story plant, so unless you're blessed with living in the Cornish Peninsula or the Scilly Isles, where, do you know what, it doesn't get cold enough really to worry about giving them winter protection. Plus, all the ones that I've seen have been planted correctly as a mid-story plant, so they always have the protection of the canopy above it. You might not need to do anything with them. So if you don't need to do anything with them, don't cut the fronds off. Look, I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it there, man. Just stop it. My apologies. I seem to be having an emotional reaction to tree ferns dying, because it's unnecessary. Anyway, to conclude, these are the things you should never do. You should never not water your tree ferns over winter. You should never cut all the fronds off unless you're living in Tresco or Cornwall and you have them under a protective canopy and you don't have the freezing temperatures and you don't have to worry about overwintering too much. Then you are going to have to put in winter protection over the winter period here in the UK. It gets far colder here than it does in the native habitat, but don't forget, you haven't got some weird bod going out there over the winter cutting all the fronds off. You'll find that in the tree ferns, in their natural habitat, they hold on to all their old fronds. And because they hold on to all their old fronds, those fronds act like a skirt or a curtain, if you will, which protects the trunk from cold conditions and freezing temperatures, because you can get frost. You can get frost, it is known. So these fronds, they protect a large proportion of the trunk. They protect the crown where the meristemic growth is, and because it's an understory plant, you have to try to set falls from the canopy above into the fronds of your tree ferns, and they act as a protection by the crown. It's a perfect solution. They are absolutely fantastic plants. They can do it all by themselves. It's only when you get the interaction of a gardener with a small amount of knowledge and utilizes that incorrectly that you start to get problems. And I really love tree ferns. I don't like seeing them murdered by ignorance. Anyway, if you've got anything you'd like to add, you're more than welcome to do so. Just put that in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Anyway, before I go and cry my hanky, I just got one more thing to say, and you know what it is. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description. You can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I've still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.